Have you ever been walked over or used by a girl? If you have, then what you probably didn't realize is that this comes down to your personal boundaries and not always the girl. Ben Alexander here from the Legends Academy, helping men with confidence, relationships and freedom. And today I want to talk to you about why girls sometimes walk over and mistreat and take advantage of guys. I'm also going to talk about what's actually going on in terms of the dynamics at work when girls are able to take advantage of guys, and also how you can avoid being taken advantage of by women. Now, there's an expression that says, give them an inch and they'll take a mile. So part of the nature of people is to take as much as you let them. So they'll actually push and take as far as they can until they meet a boundary. And often we don't actually know where the boundaries are until we reach them, or in some cases when we cross those boundaries. That's how we actually find out what's going on there. So the reason I'm talking about this today is I had a client from New Zealand and he sent me a message and he was asking about, he was concerned about certain types of girls taking advantage of him. So this is where this has come from. It's actually reading off essentially my comment to him about this and how to resolve this problem, how to look out for it, etc. So the problems arise when someone doesn't realize they are responsible for choosing and enforcing their own personal boundaries. That's the first thing. And the second thing is when someone also doesn't have the skills or confidence to enforce their personal boundaries. Now at the Legends Academy, we teach our dating clients something called the superhero theory, which is how men can communicate to women as an attractive man, and personal boundaries are actually a huge part of this. Now, what I've found through dating some of the most beautiful women is they'll often actually tailor their behavior depending on the man they're with. Really interesting, eh? So if they're with a guy, for instance, who has strong personal boundaries and high standards, they'll actually bring their A game, as it were, to their interactions with him. So they'll be on their best behavior, they'll be elegant and charming, they'll be punctual, they'll offer to contribute to bills, for instance. They'll either buy you gifts, dinner, drinks, and chauffeur you around, etc., right? So they'll actually be like super, super nice to you. Now, on the other hand, with a more provider-style sort of beta male guy who doesn't really have a strong sense of reality or isn't very confident, they'll actually be a bit more bratty. They'll have characteristics that are not as nice, and they won't treat the guy as well. And this is really simply because the guy allows them to do that. So for example, if they go to dinner and he always insists on paying, she'll let him pay. If they're out and he's buying her gifts, she'll let him buy those things for her. If she asks him to chauffeur her around, he's going to do it. If she bosses him around, or if she's grumpy and so on, he's going to let her do all these things. He's not going to sort of say, hey, come on, I don't accept that kind of behavior from you. So essentially she's just going to keep doing it, and he's going to keep doing everything she asks of him and basically allowing her to treat him this way. And the reason he does this is because a lot of the time guys believe that if they don't do this, if they don't buy women things, if they don't pay for everything, if they don't buy them gifts, if they're not super nice to them and complimenting them every single moment of the day, even to the point where the woman is put off by it, that she'll leave him. They often believe that she's going to lose interest and so on, because often in media, movies and so on, we're told that the guy has to buy everything and the guy has to be so nice to her and all these different things. So often this actually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if he stops buying her stuff because he gets to the point where he's sick of being walked over and she's not contributing and so on, she'll actually leave because the river of good times has dried up, and because he hadn't actually cultivated any connection with her other than just funding their activities and buying her nice things and complimenting her and so on. So also, even if he does keep buying her things, because he believes that, the only thing about him that she's interested in is that, then she will often realize that as well, and she'll, even if she enjoyed the gifts and dinners and compliments and so on, if he then tries to advance things to make it get more intimate with her and kiss her and so on, sometimes she'll actually realize that she needs more than she finds that there's not enough substance to his character, and she needs more than that to actually keep her interested. And as a result of that, she'll actually lose interest and give up on him. So it's really interesting how this works. And what you'll often find too, this is really, really unusual, you're going to probably be almost a bit upset when you find this out, is girls will actually keep the guys with that weak reality and that sort of undefined and poorly enforced personal boundaries as a sort of sponsor, as it were. So they'll actually keep them in their social circle, they'll keep going out for dinners with them and all these different things, just to sort of keep the guy in the loop, because they obviously enjoy having that aspect. You know, they enjoy having things bought for them. They enjoy having a guy that pumps their state and like makes them feel good all the time from all these compliments and so on. Now, for example, I had this girlfriend. Now, she was a model. Like, this was a beautiful girl, and she had so many guys wanting to buy her things and take her out and so on, that if she wanted to, this is literally, like, and she told me this, she could actually be taken out to the finest restaurants in town every night of the week with different guys, get drinks bought for her, get showered with compliments, get the latest, she got given the latest flat screen TV, the latest smartphone and so on, all bought for her at no cost from guys who she just called friends, okay? Now, she had so many guys trying to buy her things and be nice to her and trying to get her attracted to them that she would actually not have to pay for anything at all if she didn't want to. So she could basically have a whole really nice lifestyle funded for her just by these guys that were trying to date her and get her interested in them. Now, I've dated a lot of beautiful girls over the years, and often they live in this same sort of universe where they have this option available to them. Like, they can have guys just buying them everything, being nice to them and everything, even when they don't have to reciprocate that in return. Now, not all of those girls took advantage of it, and a lot of them actually hated the fact that that was the case. Now, but often what they do is they keep these guys in that sort of friend zone and keep them on as kind of like a sponsor, as it were, to sort of sponsor that lifestyle for them. And then what they would do is they'd go out, they'd have the dinner, they'd feel really great because the guy bought them all these nice things, made them feel great and everything. Then they would say goodnight to the guy, and then they'd ring me up and say, oh, hey, what are you up to? You know, I'd like to catch up. And I'd be the one they end up, you know, kissing and being their boyfriend and sleeping with and so on. So that's sort of how it works. Now, it was at a point where I would kind of feel sorry for the guys that were the ones that being the sponsor, as it were, and funding these girls. But, you know, and sometimes I still do, like, because often they just don't know that there is another option available. But the truth is, I used to be those guys. So I was one of those guys. I was the one that thought I had to buy them everything and so on. And that was the way I thought that you had to get girls attracted to you or interested in you. So what I'm going to tell you now is how you can avoid being walked over and taken advantage of by beautiful women. So the first thing you need to do is, guys, it's up to us. It's our responsibility. So we need to take personal responsibility for learning and practicing the qualities of being better men and leave behind those crappy old behaviors that actually get us the poor results and that get women wanting to put us in that sort of friend zone, as it were. The second thing is, there's a great mantra I want you guys to think about, and this mantra is, I decide what behavior I do and do not accept from other people. Okay, so I decide. You are the one at any point in time deciding what behavior you do and don't accept. So if a girl's being bratty to you, for instance, it's up to you to be like, you know what, yeah, I don't accept that. What's up with this, you know, and to call her out on it. All right, so you don't need to make it a massive confrontation, but at the same time, just don't allow that kind of thing into your universe. And lastly, it really actually doesn't come down to the girls, in my experience. Okay. So the same girls, if you had met them when you had strong boundaries and enforced them, they would respect those boundaries. Whereas the same girl that you met, if you didn't enforce those boundaries, she'd be taking advantage of you. So it's really up to us guys to, you know, they'll seek out those guys. There are some girls, guys, to be honest, that will, like, that is important to them. They just only want a guy who's going to fund them and so on and all that kind of thing. But if when they meet you, you're enforcing those boundaries and so on, they're not going to be able to put you in that little box, because they're going to say, oh, well, I tried to put him in that box, I tried to be mean to him, I tried to be this and that, try to get him to buy me everything. But just, they wouldn't, you know, if you wouldn't let them do that, then they can't do it. They can't persist with that if you don't actually allow them to have that kind of behavior. So I hope that this helps, and I hope that answered the question for my client in New Zealand there. Now, the above, like what I've just been talking about, guys, is heavily summarized. Like, I could literally talk for at least a day on this topic alone, because it's such a huge thing. And I know for myself, when I was overcoming this, it was a huge topic for me. Now, I just want you to think about if you know a friend that could really use this information. Like, a lot of us guys, we don't realize this stuff, and there's not really many channels for us to find it out. So if you know a guy who could benefit from this, a friend of yours or someone you know, then make sure you share it with them, okay? Also, give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon on the next video.